Hey, what's up? It's time to lay back and listen. Turn the world off and tune in.
Mengapa kau nyalakan api cinta di hatiku, membakar jiwa yang merana.
Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a minute, and I can go live later and explain everything if you like. But for now, just know I'm fine. We're fine. And I just want to get back into the story and catch up with what Mari is up to now. So, check my bio. We have merchandise, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you was waiting for me, you should have been commenting to let me know you was waiting. So I hope you're all caught up. And if not, stop right here, go back and listen, and then come back to this video. But for now, we're going to get started. It's time to lay back and listen to Monster Killah. Episode 10. Dizzle hugged me and told me to be safe. I told her my plan, and while she was leery, she agreed that I should be fine. I knew how to handle myself and could call her at any time. Before she left the room to catch up with the other ladies, she pressed me about calling Trini once again. It made me feel even more like he is nearby. I felt it before I fell asleep last night. This weight in my belly that was tugging. As soon as the sensation came over me, I had the urge to call him. I headed back into my room. Dizzle gave me one last knowing look before the door closed with a heavy thud. Alone in the room with a few hours to kill, I poured another mimosa and curled up with the book. After reading the same page 3 times, I sat up and grabbed my glass. I put the book down and walked over to the window. Gazing out over the city, I felt more homesick than I did during any of my travels. I wanted to call my mom. I wanted to go home and get in my bed. I wanted things to go back to normal. Prime was such an abstract thought at this point, but I knew that a quiet Prime was still a threat. I left him and didn't even call the police, but his crazy ass was still calling me. He threatened my mom, taking away my livelihood, made it impossible for me to live a normal life. What was I supposed to do? Women still aren't protected by the law. Social media is full of stories about women who couldn't get away. Women who died at the hands of a lover, former lover, boyfriend, baby father, husband. I didn't want to be that statistic any more than I wanted to be a domestic violence survivor. Remembering the pity on the faces of the women at the gas station that night, which seemed like an eternity ago, my resolve grew. I would do whatever had to be done. We would. And if anything went left, I'd take the charge. My mood had turned somber. I turned on my speaker and grabbed my phone. I needed some vibes to pick me up. I put on an upbeat mix and walked over to the other room to grab some fruit from the breakfast trays. I straightened everything up, moving the trash to a single tray and sitting it by the front door. I would take it out when I departed for dance class. Champagne glass, freshly refilled with the pineapple mimosa, danced around the room with me for the better part of an hour while I pulled dance attire from my bag. A leotard and some tights that were thick like leggings. I had a long jacket and some thigh-high boots to pair with the outfit. I would look like I was heading out for anything. I put the glass down and picked up my phone. I laid across the bed. I would need to take a nap before I got ready for class. I was feeling the champagne now. I stared at my phone screen. I had not forgotten why I picked up the phone. I knew what I had wanted to do, but I could already feel the longing growing in my belly from just thinking about him answering the phone. I chuckled. This man had me tripping, and I love it. I tapped the phone app and scrolled to our last conversation. He answered so quickly, I don't think the phone rang. His voice was instantly calming, even though he sounded anxious, as though he was expecting my call and I was late. Trini, everything okay? I asked. I was just about to ask you the same thing, Lacey. I've been anticipating your call. I talked to Dizzle about an hour ago. She let me know what was up for today. I knew you were alone. I didn't want to disturb you, but I wanted to talk to you, he said. I was speechless. He didn't hold back at all. I don't know what I expected. I gave him the same. Well, I was hesitant to call because it makes me miss you more than I already do. I've been keeping myself occupied and trying not to overthink all that will transpire this weekend. And I was drinking champagne, gazing out the window. Oh, he cut me off. So the champagne made you call me. Did you need the liquid courage or did it make you feel away? He teased. I laughed low and throaty. All that and some more. I could feel the smile spread across his face. He teased me a little longer before turning serious. Lacey, I know that you can handle yourself and that you are streetwise and clever, but I want you to remember not everybody has something to live for. Even though you aren't going to the club, you are still on the front line. The way he said that last line, I knew two things for certain. Trinidad knew me better than I thought, and he was on his way here, if he hadn't already arrived. I didn't bother responding to the first part. I reassured him that I was being cautious and would be attentive and on point every time I stepped from this room. I told him that I was going to take a nap and that I would text him later. I curled up, holding a pillow close to my body and closed my eyes. I drifted off just as a notification came across my phone. I opened one eye to capture the multiple emojis that Trinidad sent across the screen. I smiled fully and sighed with relief. There was a knock at the door. It startled me. I wasn't expecting anyone. I froze because no one should be knocking, not even housekeeping. We'd gone for the green option. No cleaning, only a fresh towel upon request. The knock sounded again. This time it was more faint, so much so I couldn't tell if it was the room that I was in or the ladies' door. What if they had knocked on both? I crossed the room and looked out the peephole. I held my breath as I put my ear to the door. Nothing. I moved away and headed towards the other door. Again, I heard and saw nothing. I went back to my room and perched on the edge of the couch. I was visibly shaken. I wanted to call downstairs, call Dizzle, Trini, somebody. I got up and went to the door. I couldn't relax until I checked. I snatched open the door and looked left. I never got the chance to look right. Everything went black. It was dark, quiet and dank. I was blindfolded, my hands fixed to the chair I was seated in. I could tell from the smell and the temperature that I was in a basement. The room was kind of small and seemed bare. I didn't feel any other presence in the room. I wanted to scream, but I also wanted to be alone for a little longer. I can't believe I let this happen. How the hell did Prom know I was in that hotel? He must have had people looking out for me. I retraced my steps from booking to arrival. I couldn't think of anything that would identify me. Maybe I just wasn't as unrecognizable as I thought. I shrugged my shoulders. Oh well. Now, how would I get out of this mess alive? Ready to get this party started, I yelled, "Hello?" I didn't sound scared, more like annoyed, as if this was a messed up food order. I wasn't about to let Prime and his flunkies think they are intimidating me. They could have just killed me at the hotel for all of this, which is exactly the next thing I shouted. I opened my mouth to shout again, but a door burst open. Bitch, shut the fuck. The door slammed. I was alone. At least I knew someone was here. Now I was even more annoyed. Who the F was he calling a bitch? Who was he? Who did he think he was? I pulled in my wrist restraints. It was the dumbest rope that got tighter the more I struggled. Suddenly, I had to pee. I had to pee so bad. It felt like a faucet turned on, but just before the water starts to trickle out. I was right there. I hollered, I have to pee. I waited. I started to shake my leg absentmindedly. If the commode wasn't in this room, if they ever came and let me loose to use the bathroom, I wasn't going to make it. A different door opened, this time closer to me. The person who entered was tall and walked heavy in some type of boots. He was moving slowly, purposely taking his sweet time as my bladder raged inside me like a violent tide. There was more flow than ebb, but as I concentrated on the figure standing to my left, it held back a little. He was chewing something, smacking, obviously eating. He still said nothing. I need to use the restroom, I repeated, turning slightly to face him. He moved to me swiftly, menacingly. He towered over me, breathing deeply. This person had so much animosity against me, I thought it was Prime. He didn't smell like Prime, though. Not just cologne, but his natural scent. With my vision obstructed, it made my sense of smell even stronger. It wasn't him. Maybe it was Pate. He was fairly tall and mean enough to let me pee right here in my clothes or kill me. I swallowed. I wasn't going to ask again. He was still above me, but he tossed whatever he had been eating and was now reaching behind him. I felt cold metal against my arm. Don't move, he said, unless you want to get cut. I nodded as he flicked the knife across the rope on both sides. Don't do nothing stupid, girl. He pushed me towards the door and through it. I stumbled into a hallway, and then another shove found me in a smaller space. The blindfold was snatched down, and the door was shut in one swift move. I looked around and was immediately grateful for the gift of sight. The cramped bathroom was filthy. I quickly did my business and washed my hands, careful not to touch anything. I knocked at the door to signal that I was ready. The door opened a crack, and the blindfold appeared. Put this back on, tight. I obliged because he could have let me suffer. We went into a different room, his hand guiding my movement at my back. My kidnapper or accomplice or whatever didn't feel as threatening, but of course I wasn't safe. I wanted out of here. The ladies wouldn't be back for at least another 4 hours, although I have no idea how long I was out, how long we'd been here. I was placed into another chair. This one was sturdy, a combination of wood and metal. I heard Velcro separating and felt a band going around my ankle. Was I in some type of torture chair? Once I was fully strapped in, my captor moved away from me and took a seat. Suddenly, sounds from the television filled the room. He turned from the news, but I knew I wouldn't be on it. Not today, anyway. I was getting antsy. I had places to be and things to do. What did they plan to do with me? What or who were we waiting on? I wanted to ask questions. I could feel my lips forming the I swallowed. Just as I was about to force air from my lungs, the door opposite where we were seated swung open. His body filled the doorframe in shadow, but I smelled his cologne as it wafted across the room. His presence made the room even colder. If I hadn't just used the restroom, I would have definitely peed myself. I can't believe I let him get the drop on me. His voice boomed, but was also faintly tinted with something that resembled regret. He called me by my name, Amerisia. I sat straight up, drenched in sweat. That dream felt so real. I had to double check and make sure I hadn't peed in the bed. I was shook. I immediately got up and crossed the room to check that the door was still latched. I went into the adjoining room and checked that door too. I sat down on the settee at the edge of the bed and sighed, head in hand, the other hand on my belly. I practiced the deep breathing that I learned from Vivian. If I wasn't so upset, I would have laughed out loud. She said years of therapy to deal with her mother taught her mindfulness. I wanted to go home, but I didn't even know where that was at this point. My townhouse, my mother's house, Atlanta with Trinidad, New York, a tropical island. The worst intrusive thought shot into my brain and darted around like a pinball. I sighed and stood, heading back into the other room to retrieve my phone. It started ringing just as I reached it. Yes, I tried to sound normal. Both Trini and Dizzle started to speak at the same time. I could tell that they were worried, but I didn't think I missed any calls. I assured them that I was okay, about to shower and dress for class. I checked the time. Luckily, I wasn't asleep for as long as it felt like. I still had more than an hour to get ready. Dizzle, realizing I was okay, decided to drop from the call and get back to shopping with the girls. When she disconnected, Trinidad began to speak in a low, even tone. His words made me stop undressing and take a seat. Lacey, listen, I know you want to handle this alone, but I love you. I love you, and I cannot let you do that. His voice trailed off. He started again. If anything were to happen to you and I wasn't there to protect you, I'd be devastated. I don't feel like myself with you apart from me. I called Dizzle a few moments ago because my stomach started to knot up and I thought something was wrong. I was so adamant she added you to the call. Something was wrong. Even though you said you were fine and I don't want to press you, I feel it, Lacey. I sighed, a deep sigh that if this was a cartoon, a white flag would have appeared, waving despite the stillness in the room. Yes, something was wrong, Trini, but it was only a bad dream. It felt so real, but I'm okay. Trust me. I promise I am all right. All he said in response was, I'm coming. I'll call you back. As determined as I was to handle this, I was relieved to know that he'd be by my side. He didn't say where he was coming from. I started to call Dizzle and make her give up the information, but instead, I went into the bathroom and cleaned the soaking tub with care and deliberation. I added bath beads and a small sachet of scented bath salts and dried petals. Suddenly, the urge to dance left my body. I only wanted to dance in Trinidad's arms, to step into the strength of his embrace and rest my head on his capable and calming shoulders. Just as I sank down into the water, my phone rang. Well, guys, that's the end of episode 10. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you guys are still tuning in. Be sure to like, share it with your friends, strangers, your socials, subscribe so you know when I upload, and I will be uploading soon. And comment and let me know if you want me to go live and tell you why I haven't been on. Okay? Again, in the community tab, bio, there's information about merch, support the channel, and I'm just so grateful that you are still tuning in to Monster Killah. Thank you. Love you. Bye.